Hi, everybody. It's Colleen, and it's day 2 of the challenge Go Live in August every day. And I thought today I'd just let you know a little bit about me. I'm going to talk about myself today so you know who I am and just a little bit about what I do, but what I like to do for fun and all about me. So anyway, I started my business 21 years ago, and I know I was only 8 when I did that, so I was really smart. But anyway, I started my business 21 years ago, and it was a medical transcription company, and it was my passion. I loved it. Within 3 years, it was a $250,000 business, and I did that for 15 years, and it was my passion. But with the changes in medical, as we all know, I knew I had to do something else, so that's why we started rebranding about 3 years ago and became an author assistant. But I'm not going to talk business today. I want to talk fun. So I've been married 33 years, and we have a wonderful son, Peter, and he's in business with me. He went to school at Morehead State University in Kentucky and decided that after he went to school, everything was commission-based when he got out. And I said, well, I can do better than that. And since I was rebuilding, he was interested. So we're giving it a go. And when I was young, I like to have fun. And I was always a good kid. And I grew up in a very strict Catholic family. And when I was young, I always thought about, before I did anything, I thought, am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to go to jail, or is it going to kill me? So that's what I did when I was young. And so I was a pretty straight-laced kid. But I love sports. Sports got me through a lot. I think sports have gotten to a point today, I'm not going to get controversial, that it's so whacked out that no one deserves $1 million to catch a baseball. But anyway, I love sports, and I still do today. I stay active. I met my friend who I grew up with. She was a year younger than I, lived down the street from me, and we reconnected when our sons went to the same high school. And so over the past 10 years, gosh, I can't believe it's been that long, we reconnected, and we started taking some fun classes together. We took a sailing class together, which was the most horrible thing I've ever done sports-wise. It was agony, and it was a 2-day class, and we went, and we were so tired at the end of the day. We were going to camp there, and we said we needed to go home and just relax, and we really didn't want to go back the next day. And we prayed for thunderstorms and storms because we didn't want to go back. But that's commitment. We went back. So I'm going to talk a little bit about commitment in these things. But commitment, we went back the next day, and the instructor actually said, wow, everybody showed up. We usually lose half the class on this second day. So we went and we got our certificates for sailing, and it was one of the most miserable things I've ever done in my life, probably partly because the lake didn't have a lot of wind on it, and it was about 98 degrees. So that's one thing we did. Another adventure we had was kayaking, and we took a kayaking class, and I'm one of these people, I'm nervous Nelly. So what I did was, it was in May, and I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. So it was in May, and it was not hot out, but it wasn't cold by any means. And I always like to know what's going to happen if. So I'm kind of that nervous Nelly. So the instructor said, would anyone like to have a controlled flip of their kayak to see what would happen if if it happened in a river or anything? And I'm like, oh, I would. And my friend was behind me, so I didn't hear her say, Colleen, the water's going to be frozen. And it didn't even click my mind that the water was going to be cold. So without any hesitation, I raised my hand, and they said, oh, we have a volunteer, Colleen. And so I flipped my kayak without even thinking. And the water was so cold that it was like heart stopping. The water was so cold. So long story short, I got the canoe back up, the kayak back up, and got back into the canoe. And it was so cold they had to give me one of those jackets that insulated you to get your body heat in. But it's just a funny thing. My friend and I have been through a lot together. mostly fun, but some sad. And we continued till this day to do a lot of fun activities together. And the year I turned 50, we did a sprint triathlon. And the goal of that was not to die. So we made it through, and it was actually literally 99 degrees that day. It was hotter than Hades. That spring was a beautiful spring here in Cincinnati. It was warm, a warm winter. We didn't have any problems with snow. I love snow, but it was a warm spring. So we started biking early that year. We did a lot of hill work, and we thought the biking portion of the triathlon was going to be the easiest portion because we had biked all spring. We had biked almost 5 months before, and it ended up being the hardest part because they had just had kind of a tornado the night before, not a bad one, but they had to reroute the bike trail, and they had added in a bunch of hills, more hills than what we thought that there were going to be. And anyway, we were going up and down the hills, and it was miserable, the biking portion. So that's kind of, it's funny because when you think things are going to be easy, they sometimes end up being harder. But the triathlon also took a lot of commitment for us to do because we trained for 5 months for that. And it does take a lot. And, like I kiddingly said, our goal was not to die. And that was just more of a fear thing because you do these things in the heat of summer, most of them. Like, why don't they do them in the fall or the spring instead of the heat of summer? But that was another fun activity. And then over the past couple of years, we have done the Flying Pig. I don't know if you've heard of that, the Flying Pig Marathon in Cincinnati. We've done the half marathon. I did the half marathon last year, and I had a story I could tell you, but I can't. And then we did the half marathon. We trained for the half marathon this year. And a week before the half marathon, my friend broke out in shingles. So she wasn't able to do it with me. And so that was a little bit of a mental block for me because I was looking forward to doing it with her, to have somebody to chat with and just pull me along. But I made it through. And again, that's commitment. So I just wanted to let you know kind of about what I do for fun. I love to stay active because I think as an entrepreneur, anybody, we need to stay active for our health and be grateful that we can move and be active because there's a lot of people out there who can't. And so that's one thing I like to do for fun. 3 years ago in September, I started taking violin lessons. I've never lifted an instrument in my life. I was going to start guitar in 8th grade and I didn't. But I started taking violin about 3 years ago and I love it. And I'm learning to read music. My son was a music major in college, and so he's helping me with the notes. I know the notes, but he's helping me with rhythm and some of the music theory. And I started private lessons last year. I was in group lessons before that. And I go away with my friend. The last 3 years I've gone to a adult strings camp. And so that's a lot of what I do for fun. I love to read fun, relaxing, no-brainer books, if you will, when I have time. This year I've read a lot of business books. And what else do I like to do for fun? Oh, well, I love to walk. I walk a lot. Excuse me. I love to walk a lot, and I try to take my husband with me. He doesn't like to walk. He really doesn't like any form of exercise, but I take him with me, and whenever I do, he always says, "Oh, you're trying to kill me," which I'm not. I say, "No, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm trying to keep you alive so we can do things together in a few years when we retire." So anyway, it's about commitment and doing things, staying active, being busy. And so let me know, post in here what you like to do. What do you like to do for fun? Tell me a little bit about your background. I didn't want to go into anything, work related or business related today. I just thought I'd have a little fun talking to you about who I am and what I do. And have a great evening. And I will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock to talk to you. And like I said, post something here so I know who you are, what you do, and what you like to do. Take care. Bye.